Hey everybody, this is Perch. One of the things that's made for healthy comics, and I know some people are going to eye roll here when I say this word, but community or customer base or group of customers or customers that talk to each other. I mean, however you want to describe it. Take this from somebody again who ran a comic shop, who had customers come into the shop, and customers talk to each other. And one of the things that I always enjoyed most is when the customers are talking to each other, and they're doing my job for me. They are selling each other on comics. Have you seen this comic? This comic is really cool. I remember when Doom Patrol, when both Grant Morris and Rachel Pollack were on that title, that there were some really large fans of that book, and they would sell the concept of this book to other people, which was great. It was more authentic. I liked it, not because I'm lazy, but it's more authentic when a customer is selling another customer on the value of a title rather than the shop. People are going to trust a peer recommendation more. And that's one of those things where when the internet came along and people are using, I don't know, originally the Usenet, and some people are suckered into using those AOL disks, and then eventually we have social media as we have it today. I think that one of the what people were hopeful of was that we would get the same kind of thing. We'd get customers being able to peer recommend books, and that's happened to some extent. It's not like that hasn't happened. It's not like none of that happens. There is some customer to customer recommendations and referrals and everything else. But particularly in the last 4 to 6 years or so, probably about 6 years, there's been more of a desire to drive people into tribes, into teams, rather than just recommending kind of peer-to-peer, customer-to-customer. It's been more of a, if you like this, that must mean that kind of material. Are any of you familiar? There's this website, If This Then That. And I like this website a lot. It allows you to, in a non-code way, create little widgets for yourself. It's like, if the temperature is 70 degrees, then turn on the air conditioner. And it's like a lot of the basis behind smart homes and other things come from this concept of if this, then that. If it's if it's dark outside, turn on the lights, that kind of thing. Unfortunately, that kind of behavior, if this, then that, works very well for mechanical things that do not have feelings, emotions, and things that are pretty binary, like it is light outside or it is not light outside, or it is a certain temperature or it's not a certain temperature. It works great for that, but it doesn't work great for customer opinions. And this is an area where more too often people get very fixated on, if you believe this, then that must mean that. And an example, I mean, there's tons, but like, if you like the Punisher, that must mean you're a fascist. If you do not like Laura being called Wolverine, that must mean you hate women. I mean, that's the kind of behavior that's crept in. And unfortunately, it's distilled everything down to just the rawest kind of material. And we're not getting that good community customer to customer spread anymore of comics. And that's what you want. That's what, community has become eye rolling in how it's used, but it's still a good concept. The idea of a community, a group of people who can refer and recommend things, it also depends on not the kind of bare minimum of traits. We're not meant to be complete. We're not meant to be like the temperature or the brightness outside. That we're meant to be more complex than that. I don't like Laura being called Wolverine. That does not mean that I want her to be referred to as her dead name as X-23. I think X-23 is also kind of a stupid name. I know she was once called Talon. I know that there was a previous incarnation of a Wolverine-like female character called Wild Thing back in the days of M2. But I mean, comics is about imagination. I think it's weird to say, well, we need a name for this character, and we started with X-23, and then we went to Wolverine, and we're out of ideas. I mean, shit, we've gone through all of our ideas, and we're out. We don't have any more. That's it. So we're just going to have to pick between those two. In a world of comics where anything is possible, you're telling me that's all we got? That we can't possibly come up with anything more creative than X-23 or Wolverine? And to be clear, and not to regurgitate the entire argument again, the reason I don't like X-23 or Laura as Wolverine is because there already is a Wolverine, and it's a Wolverine that clearly is more popular. I understand that there's some people on Twitter who believe Laura is more popular and everything else, but not to the world. There's been multiple Wolverine movies. There's a look and a style that's been built up since the 70s of Wolverine. I mean, you're trying to overturn, coming up on 50 years of, this character. And so it's not going to work. And no, it does not work to just have one writer, wave a magic wand and go, "You're Wolverine now." People don't react like that. They're going to be slow to it. And frankly, I like the character. I like Laura. I think Laura is an interesting there's a very interesting dynamic to that character. I think there's a lot you can actually do with her. And I think by calling her Wolverine, and worse, by the way, worse than Wolverine, is the fact that they give her a costume that looks like a poorly created knockoff of Logan Wolverine. Like, why would they do that? What baffles me a little bit is why, do people are saying, yeah, she deserves her own identity. She shouldn't be X-23. It's like, yeah, but they've dressed her up and called her somebody else's identity. By the way, the same thing goes for Hawkeye, Kate. We're going to put her in a purple costume, and we're going to make it a homage to the original Hawkeye, and we're going to give her the Hawkeye name. Like, why are you doing that? Like, shouldn't you come up with a new name for her? Shouldn't you try and do something original? Like, I maybe I live in bizarro world, but I actually think it's more insulting to say this character doesn't warrant their own identity, so we're just going to kind of make a clone knockoff of somebody else's character. That's weird to me. It's not like Green Lantern, where Green Lantern is the name of kind of the soldier, and there's lots of Green Lanterns. Even the Flash is also a little dumb, by the way. I had the same feeling with Wally West when he took over from Barry Allen, not Bart Allen. Bart Allen is yet another version of this. But I mean, I do think, the Flash as a mantle and everything else, that's fine. Again, not to wade completely into that argument. But the key here is that if I say, I don't like Laura as Wolverine, that shouldn't immediately generate a "you be sexist" remark. Because, again, people don't think that way. And that's where our customer base, our collection of customers is not doing what it needs to do. We don't listen to each other. When somebody has a difference of opinion, if there's a decent level of kind of common goal that comics are a good thing, then these differences of opinion can often lead to more sales, more readership, because people want to try out what other people like, even if it's not what they like. That tends to be a positive. But we've turned it into a negative. And keep in mind, you see people making comments like, if you don't think exactly the way I think, then I shouldn't listen to you at all. You're not worth, you're bad. You should go on a list. I mean, it's very aggressive. You have to conform to every single opinion. And here's the natural result of that. People just lie. I mean, guaranteed. I know I am not the only person who likes the character of Laura, but doesn't particularly like the name Wolverine and absolutely hates the Wolverine knockoff costume. I guarantee you I am not the only person who feels that way. And a lot of the people are just terrified at this point to say that, because they're worried if they say, I don't like Laura as Wolverine, then morons are not going to even give them the chance to explain what the problem is. They're just immediately going to throw them into a bucket. And that doesn't, again, no sales are being happened. Our community, and I know, our community suffers as a result. We've got, this is one of those negative things about the internet, is somebody will make a video or a comment making fun of something like the word community. Be like, oh, it's so cringy. Cringe. And it's like, okay, fine, except if you're a shop owner, if you're a retailer, the idea of community as a mechanism in order to generate sales, get people to gain interest, help prop each other up. So if one person kind of loses interest in comics, somebody else from the community can help get them back into it. These are positive things. You could call it whatever you want. If you don't like the word community because you're going to kind of vomit out cringe every time you hear that word, you could call it fandom, you could call it club, you can call it whatever you want. The key here is it has to be dialed back a little bit. In football or basketball or whatever pro sport, but we use football. In football, if you belong to a particular group of fans for a particular team, if you're a fan of the Seattle Seahawks, you may aggressively say people who like the Patriots are idiots, and they are, but you don't go around telling them if you don't like the Seahawks, then you hate football and you should you should get out. Nobody's doing that because that would be stupid. But in comics, people are very willing to do that. If you don't like exactly the same stuff as me, if you don't like exactly the same stuff I'm telling you to like, then you should not read comics. You should get out. We don't want you around. That's nonsense. It's just dumb. Some of the things that go on in comics are dumb. I mean, come on, we've had decades of dumb decisions in many cases. And it's stupid to put such restrictions on comic characters, on comic creators, on anything else, that if you just step outside the mainstream in any possible way, you're wrong. And that's stupid. Who wants to enjoy something like that? The answer is nobody, and that's why people are leaving. That's a big reason why people are just noping out of the whole thing, because, I mean, who wants to put up with that garbage? If you can't pick up a comic, I mean, put it this way, if you pick up a comic and people are going to say you have to like it exactly the way that we tell you to like it, I mean, you can't even like it for a different reason. You have to like it for only one reason. That's ludicrous. And by the way, before anybody goes, but nobody's really doing that. Come on, you're exaggerating. Again, I point you to look at the threads and the stuff that goes on with basic disagreements, like what's Laura's name, or who is the real Hawkeye, or God help us, who is the real Hulk. Like this was going on again today. Of the real Hulk is Jennifer Walters. That is the Hulk. She took the name during Mariko Tamaki's run. They called it Hulk. That is the real Hulk. If you don't call her Hulk and only her Hulk, then you must hate women. And it's like, she's not real. And this is all dumb. And frankly, it's to all of our individual benefits to have more people reading comics, not less. And this is the part that you really want to kick through the heads of some people. Kicking people out of the fandom for stupid reasons. Honestly, trivial, dumb reasons. If you're going to don't buy my book, if you're going to really go hardcore into that as a strategy, then all you're doing is removing people from the buying pool of comics. And whether or not you want them reading your book or not, I mean, ideally, you should want as many readers as you can, but a comic customer is a good thing, regardless of what books they're buying, because that's causing the overall pool of comics to go up. There's an analogy that keeps getting used. One of the big YouTubers must have used this analogy. I don't know which one, but somebody did, because it's now been posted like a dozen times. And it's you wouldn't, if Ford wouldn't celebrate if Toyota had record sales. And not exactly. That's not a perfect analogy. What the person, whoever's saying this, what they're trying to say is, if somebody else was really successful, a competitor wouldn't be saying, "Yeah, me too," And they're right about that. Yes, of course, that would be ridiculous. However, more people buying cars. If Toyota had a record year, Ford and some of these other companies, they might be sitting around going, "Why not us? We better change." And this is, we need some of that. Why are they beating us? They might certainly say that, and hopefully they're saying that. Well, I mean, not just hopefully. Of course, they're going to say things like that. They're in a business to make money. However, everyone typically would be happy that the overall car buyer audience, that pool, is up. This is the screwed up thing about comics. Yeah, it is a good thing if people in Marvel and DC are happy about the success of manga. They should be. The overall pool of comic readers is growing. That's a good thing. But while they're happy, they also simultaneously need to go, now, great, we see the overall market for comics has increased. How do we take that market? It has to be the attached statement. They should be happy. Hey, look, more people are buying comics. That's good. That means our available audience has increased. That's a good thing. And definitely celebrate that. Good. Good. More prospective buyers. Now that we've established there are more prospective buyers, how are we going to get them? Both things have to happen. That's why I say I don't know where that came from, but I get where the analogy is going, but in a weird way it also showcases the other half of this argument, which is you do want comics to grow from any direction. Scholastic, manga, the French, God help us. I mean, no, I'm just kidding. There's some great French comics out there. But wherever comics grows, it's good. That means more eyeballs are on comics. I mean, consider the comic shops who resisted for a long time, did not want digital. They were very against it. We can't have digital. This is going to kill our business. And then eventually, comic shops figured out that having digital content out there, having comics as digital, actually was likely a benefit, not a drawback to their audience. Same thing when Walmart started carrying comics. And once again, a bunch of comic retailers went online to mouth off about how this was terrible. They shouldn't be able to sell comics. So Walmart is going to kill our business. And lo and behold, what actually happened was that comics got promoted to more people. Same thing is going on with crowdfunding right now. If crowdfunding is bringing new people or lapsed comic buyers back into comics, then that is a good thing for Marvel, for DC, for Image, for anyone. It is a good thing. It means the available market has increased. Now you just got to go get it. Anyway, the practice of no, we've got to kind of chop away at this whole thing. That's madness. That's not going to lead anywhere good. But tell me I'm wrong. And thanks for listening.